Oh, we revealed our special guest today. I am not alone. My name is Lily. So excited to be hanging with you guys. Rachel is here. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, everybody.
We're so glad to have you here, Rachel. And Joey is also with us, of course.
What's up, everybody? I am here.
Joey, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling good. How are you doing, Lily? That's the question.
I'm doing good. It was so much fun to share with everyone my PINT X experience. I really was excited. Like, I was like a kid on Christmas morning. I was so excited. And I mean, the ride is different. The experience is different. Joey, you got to ride it too, right?
I did. Actually, I wrote it this morning, like probably an hour before this live stream. And so I'm super excited to share about it. But I mean, it was an experience.
It was an experience, I bet.
It was amazing.
I bet.
I want
We're
one.
excited. Yeah, I want one too. We're excited to hear about it. We'll hear about Joey's experience on the PINT X this morning in a little bit, okay? But first, we have a new guest today, Rachel. She's been here before in the studio, and we're excited to have you back, Rachel. We want to interview you a little bit on your thoughts. We had this video today where I compared. What did I compare?
The PINT versus PINT X.
Okay, and did you know, Rachel, that One Wheel dropped 2 new One Wheels like 2 weeks ago now, almost.
I only know about it because I follow you all on Instagram.
So I love it. So Rachel, what do you think think's new about the new One Wheels?
There's an X on it.
Do you have any idea what the other One Wheel is that they dropped?
What I know from following your stories is the words I know are PINT, XR, fenders, wheel. That's it. Rails. Those are the buzzwords that I know of One Wheel.
You're just naming things about One Wheel. I love it. Okay, let's see if she can guess this, Joey. Joey, the other One Wheel that they released has a name.
Yep.
It's somewhat of a name, but that's similar to that of a very nice, fancy car.
That
Joey,
is true.
You catching on what
I'm catching on with what you're saying.
Okay, so do we think we should kind of test Rachel based on that very nice car and see if she can get what the name of the other new One Wheel is?
I think so.
Okay, Rachel. So this very nice car is a Mustang. Okay, I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give her as much as I can, you guys. Okay, let's see it in the chat if you think this is fun. It's the name of a Mustang. I think there's lots of different Mustangs, right, Joey? I'm gonna need you to come in.
Yeah,
here.
there are different types of Mustangs. I actually own a Mustang, and I don't even know what type of Mustang it was. So I know there are.
You own a Mustang?
I did in college. I had a green, it was almost like that. It wasn't tennis green, but it was like a weird green color. It's honestly kind of an ugly color. But
this is the first time hearing this.
And it was not a good car in Minnesota in the winter. I had to put sandbags in the back, and I could barely get up a hill that was this steep. It was rough. But I don't know what type of Mustang it was. It was an older one. But there are different types of Mustangs, Lily. You are correct. Maybe write in the chat, people, because we need some help on the types of Mustangs over here.
Okay, Rachel, we gave you some time to think about what Mustang this One Wheel might be named after. I don't think it's named after. Joey, I don't know about this myself, but I have tried to think of some contextual clues as to why One Wheel named this. I think that those 2 letters have got to stand for something. Do you know what they stand for?
G.
Oh, wait.
Oh, shoot!
Okay, we gave Rachel 2 more hints there. We told her that it's 2 letters, and the first one is a G. Do you have any idea, Rachel?
GT!
Yes! Because what? How'd you know?
Because I said
Instagram creeper.
You creeped Instagram.
I creep on you all.
So you know it's called, I'm Googling
But
right now.
What does GT stand for? Great technology?
Grand...
Grand Tour.
Grand Tour?
That's what Johan said.
What does Grand Tour even mean? Grand Tour, but it's spelled Tourer.
Maybe it's European.
It's got to be European. But is Mustang a European car brand? Oh my God, we are so.
Is it General Motors Mustang?
We are so out of our element here, and there's no one here to correct us. This is what do we?
I don't know.
Joe, you had one.
I had one, but I don't know where it's from.
Okay.
That's like me saying Actually, I do know where the one wheel's from, but like I don't know.
Okay, so we have a lot of people in the chat helping us out. I love this. If you are new to this channel, we want to say welcome. We're so excited that you're here. We've got basically Faith is in here. Hi. We have Johan. We've got Jordan, Michaela, Kayla, Lily, Dan, Logan. This is so good. This is so exciting. Okay, so Rachel, we told you about the PINT X. What do you think the PINT X, like what's special about it? I mean, you just watch that whole video, so you should know, but let's hear a noob's review. Okay, what do you think's special about the PINT X?
Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out the difference between an iPhone and an iPhone X, so like, if anybody can tell me that,
okay.
I have no idea.
So the PINT X is basically like a pint on steroids, okay? So it's like, it goes faster, it goes further, it's got more power, okay? So that was the whole video this morning, okay? So what do you think the GT is, Rachel?
Maybe. It's like PINT X, XR, GT. In terms of power.
Yes.
Right?
Supposedly. And we don't have a GT yet, so we're so excited to try it out. But good job. Good job. Okay, I see in the chat that people are shaking their heads at us. Joey, what do you have to say at those shaking their heads at us?
I think I have to say that we are going to make a 180 turn into a different direction. And so, hey, we love you here, and we just love to do life with you. And, you know, hopefully this Sunday morning you can just take a moment, take a break from whatever has happened during the week, and you can enjoy. We're gonna move on to worship, and worship is giving worth to God, and so we're gonna give you that chance to do that. So if your week was great, if your week was not so great, take the time to just sit down and kind of reflect on what God has done for you this week. And so check out this video, and then we will be back up to talk about a little more about the PINT X.
I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you, oh my soul, rejoice, take joy, my King, in what you hear. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you, oh my soul, rejoice, take joy, my King, in what you hear. So let it be a sweet, sweet sound. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound. Let it be a sweet, sweet. Let my life, oh, let my life be a sweet
I hope you guys enjoyed that and just took a moment to reflect on the week. Reflect on what happened and think about the week ahead. I know in here we did the same, and we're just so grateful that you all are here. Again, welcome to Unlock Church Online. If you're new, we're so grateful you joined us today. Yes, we like to have lots of fun, but we have a great topic for you today that we're going to talk about. But before we get there, earlier, Joey mentioned that he rode the PINT X. Joey, this morning you rode it. Tell us about your experience. How was it?
Absolutely. So the PINT X, I mean, I like how Lily explained it. She said the PINT X is like the pint on steroids. And honestly, I think that's pretty accurate on what it is. Kind of what I notice, I've been on a pint for a long time now. And there's a certain point where it's like you wish you could go a little faster on the pint, and you just get this major pushback, and the one wheel just goes like in elevate mode pretty much, and you get major pushback. And the first thing I noticed, I took the PINT X on the road, and I was able to go just a little faster. Like where I usually get that pushback, I was able to push through that and go, probably around that 18 miles per hour mark until I got that pushback, which is nice because for the pint, like it's a good speed, but it's like you get to that speed and you're like, come on, like I want to go a little faster, especially like in all these races and stuff. And with the PINT X, you are able to push it a little more, which I love. And obviously, I mean, the range, most of you know that there's more range, which is sweet. But it's literally, I mean, an XR in a pint body. And it is a little heavier. When I picked it up, it was a little heavier, but you don't notice it a ton. It's still like small enough where you can carry it and put it under the table at a coffee shop or whatever. So that's sweet. I did notice that when I picked it up, which I know this is not the proper way to pick up a one wheel, but when I pick it up, I sometimes pick it up like by the sensors, and I pick it up and it was definitely thicker. So obviously the battery is bigger, but I ended up taking it in the trails as well, and kind of like Lily's video where she went up the hill. And you saw me wipe out on the pint when we were racing. Scott and I didn't make it up that hill. And today I tried 2 hills in the trail, and there's a different hill that I actually made it up. And usually I don't make it up on the pint. And so I was able to, it was still very slow. Mm-hmm. Like I was like if I would have pushed it, I wouldn't have made it, but I slowly got up. So I could tell there was more. What is it? Is it power or torque?
Power. Joey, someone in the chat wants to know, would you race on an XR or a PINT X if you had to choose one? So which one are you choosing? If you had to choose one, PINT X or XR?
Man, I mean, it depends on the race. If it is a race like straight on, I would say a PINT X. I would say PINT X, unless it was very bumpy but it was mostly straight, then I might pick the XR just because my feet are kind of big, and if it was bumpy, my feet might fall off the PINT X. But yeah, that's probably my answer to that. But what I was saying, going up the hill, I went up that same hill that I fell on last time, and I did fail again, but I think that's partially me, not the one wheel, but I could tell I got farther, and I could tell that the one wheel had more like oomph to it. And so I love the thing. Now I'm just a heavy individual, I guess. I think that's my problem. I think I'm still gonna have a hill problem. So when we start racing again, these hills kill me. They just do. But the PINT X I would totally recommend getting one. I mean, the thing is sweet. It's faster, more range, and it's an XR and a pint body. Pint on steroids. PINT X, baby.
Love it. Joey, we love hearing your perspective. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad you got to kind of like wake up and ride today. It's always fun to wake up and take our one wheels out for a ride. So hopefully this week you get to do something that you enjoy. wake up and do it, whether it's read a good book, have a good cup of coffee, do something intentionally this week that'll bring you joy. I know when Joey walked in this morning, I gave him the PINT X. I was like, here you go. And he just had a big smile on his face. So I knew it brought him joy. So do something this week that brings you joy. We are going to transition now to a message from Scott. He's super excited to pop in and say hello to you guys. So he's also so funny at the very beginning. So don't miss what he references at the very beginning. Check out a video from Scott right here, and then Rachel, myself, Joey will be back to start a conversation for the morning that will hopefully catalyst you into the week ahead. Here's the message from Scott.
Captain Kirk, thank you for beaming me up. This is Scotty here.
Scotty, we haven't got much time left.
Yes, I was on a foreign planet and picked up some kind of plague virus that attacked me from the inside.
Scotty.
I'll get right to it. Hey, what's happening, everybody? My name is Scott Mendenhall. Welcome to Unlock Church today. It's been a second, been a hot minute, been a moment since I've gotten to see you. Thank you for everybody's prayers. Thank you for everybody bringing food to my family. For those that are brand new here at Unlock Church online or at AMC, we got COVID. We have not had interaction with people for 3 weeks straight. Can you tell yet? Help me now. We're doing pretty good. We are what seems to be on the other side of all of the actual bad parts of COVID and on the mends, which is great. We're just now waiting out that 10 days that you need to have to be able to get back into society, hang out with people, love on people. So we're excited that this is the last Sunday that we will not be in the studio or at AMC, and next week we will be with you. So we're excited about it, can you tell? Super amped on it. It's been a wild ride. How many can actually say, how many of you have ever had a puppy? Like, have you? Would you like to meet our puppy? Let me go get our puppy. This is Wookie. What a cute pup, aren't you? Oh, thank you. He is, seriously, I don't know what to tell you except for he's a lot of fun to have around. He's not the best dog ever, that's Bader, but super hilarious to have during lockdown, being quarantined. This guy has been hilarious. Story with him was one of the evenings, one of our children weren't feeling very good and they decided to puke over the side of a chair right on the floor. Well, this guy, brand new to the world, this lovable pup was like, well, let me just check that out. Puke just onto the top of his little puppy head. Took us 3 days to get the smell of puke out of this dude's head. Didn't it, Wookie? We had to have somebody bring in puppy shampoo because that night when it happened, I scooped him up. I was like, what do you do? Like, he's now in the puke on top of him. And I ran him to the bathroom, put him underwater with no actual puppy shampoo. Holly cleaned up the puke. Kids are screaming. It was actually looking back pretty funny. Hey, thank you so much for being here today at Unlock Church and online. We're super stoked to have Rachel Van Rukel today. She'll be in the house, leading the discussion, doing the topic. I'm stoked. She's a very great communicator. I want to thank you, Dwayne, last week. I didn't get to put a video together for you. A little under the weather. Dwayne, thank you for stepping up to the plate, hitting a home run. I've heard some really good things. Oh, am I boring you there, Wookie? Are you saying move on? This is taking too long. We're trying to wrap up, okay? Thank you for everybody that's stepping in and really doing things you didn't have to do. The leadership team here. Thank you for everybody that gave resources to the Pastor Appreciations gift. Wow. Didn't see that. It's never even on my radar. I wasn't even sitting at home last week going, oh, I wonder if I was more on the road or recovery. I just didn't want to ache any longer. That was what was my mind last week. Super stoked to be with you next week, everybody. Rachel Van Rukel's gonna be in the house. Give her a little bit of love. All right, everybody. Have a good Sunday. Bye now.
Bye.
Wookie is so cute.
So cute.
And Scott is just so funny, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was one of those funnies like you shake your head. So we're shaking our head at you now. Right, Joey?
Yeah,
We're
my
all-
favorite part was like,
What was that?
that guy, those guys that were laughing.
Where's
What do
that
you?
from?
That was.
I don't-
That was. Oh my gosh, I'm
It's
blanking.
honestly
I'm blanking on his name.
when
What?
I laugh really hard,
Jim
it kind
Carrey?
of sounds like
No,
that
it
sometimes.
was the guy from Castaway. Why am I blanking?
I don't know, but
Steven, what's his
it's
name?
hilarious.
John.
No, we're all.
Tom.
All right.
Tom
Okay.
Hanks.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Jeez, I kept wanting to say Tom Cruise. Wow. Okay, so yes, Scott introduced Rachel for our topic today. Super glad to have you.
Good to
Rachel,
be here.
Good to be here. I'm excited to hear what you have for
Yeah,
us.
yeah. It's a little cold in studio. Joey, I was like giving you props over here. Like a one-wheel ride in the morning, 20 miles per hour in the morning. That sounds cold.
Hey, it woke me up.
I bet it did.
It did.
I bet it did.
It helped.
I love it.
Well, okay, so this weekend I have been busy doing tons of yard work. So, Joey,
Yes.
how many leaf bags? Like you have to bag your leaves, right?
This is kind of
How
funny.
many are you at right now?
Well, this is kind of a funny story actually, because my wife and I just got a new home. I've never had to really do yard work. I mean, when I did like chores when I was growing up, I had to rake the leaves every once in a while, but I didn't count how many bags we used. So I go to Lowe's to buy some bags to put my leaves in, and I'm like, yeah, like how many to get? And I was just like, I think 5's enough. Like 5 bags is good. So I literally walk out with 5 like leaf bags. I'm like, that's plenty. Like those are some pretty big bags. And so I start raking, and those 5 bags filled up very quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm at 5 right now. That's it. But I mean, I don't have a lot more left. Our yard's not huge,
Nice.
but I'm at 5 at the moment because I don't have any more bags.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it.
How many are you at?
Well, so just to validate your experience, I did the exact same thing. I went to Lowe's, I bought 5 bags, and was like, this will do. Well, actually, back up. My original plan, I'm gonna like rat on myself, and this is technically illegal, I think, actually.
Oh,
but like,
boy.
I put my leaves in my garbage can because I was like, this is fine. I have room. Don't do that. It's technically not okay. It's maybe not illegal, but like you can get fined, I think, anyway. So I bought my 5 bags. I was like, I'll just throw it away each week. But then I gave up at some point, and now I'm in the 40s. So right now I'm
my.
at 44. Yeah.
That's
There's
a
been
lot.
many things with this house where it's like, I want a house with a big yard and lots of trees, and I didn't think through all the consequences of that. Like 11 trees produce a lot of leaves.
Yeah.
Who would have thought it?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
me.
You might have to get like a riding lawnmower with that thing in the back.
I
that
do.
picks up-
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
So you do have that.
yeah,
Oh,
and
game
that makes
changer.
all the difference.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah. Also, this weekend, I kind of tackled my blackberry bushes, which were a total nightmare. They were taking over my back porch. And I brought in... Ow, I just like poked myself on the end of the thorns. But look at this. Can you see those thorns? Is that even possible? Ooh,
I can see
you
them.
can like
I can
totally,
totally
see them.
see
from here.
them.
This thing was a nightmare this weekend. I took like a whole truckload of blackberry bush thorns. So we're gonna be talking about weeds this morning, of like thorns in our sides and things that are a burden to us throughout life. So I thought this was a good demonstration of like sometimes there are troubles that we have, thoughts that we have that are thorns in our sides throughout life. And it's really important to get to the root of those things. So another illustration of this is dandelions. How many inches deep do you think the roots of dandelions are? Lily.
I mean, well, since you're asking, I feel like they're pretty deep. Like, how many inches deep?
Yeah.
I feel like they've got to be so deep because you're asking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How many inches deep are dandelion roots?
A range is fine.
123.
What?
Lily.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, 7 inches deep.
Okay, there we go. That's like in the range. It's like I think it's in my notes somewhere, but it's like 6 to 15 inches deep. or
Okay,
something like
okay,
this.
okay. See, I made it.
Yeah,
I made it there.
yeah, you're in the
That's good.
range. But it's like that's an important point because if you just maybe you didn't know. I didn't know this spring. If you pull up a dandelion but don't get its roots, it's going to immediately come back. You have to get the roots of a dandelion, right? Joey, do you care about dandelions in your yard?
Personally, no, I don't. But my wife might.
They're really annoying. They're kind of ugly. But anyway, I also pulled up some like baby maple trees because I thought they were cute.
That's a baby tree?
Yeah, it's a baby maple tree. Its leaves were more beautiful yesterday. But this is a baby tree. And so you can see too, like even in this baby tree, the roots are almost half of the tree.
Yeah.
And
so does that mean as the tree grows, the roots continue to grow to be?
Yeah.
So like they kind of grow in tandem?
Sure.
What? Why
I
does
don't
that not
know.
make sense?
I actually don't know.
Well,
we need,
if
like
right now,
Jordan, tell us.
Jordan, tell us. Well, if right now the roots are almost the same size as the tree, my thought is that as the tree grows, the roots grow, and
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense too. This is why like people don't want to plant trees right next to your house because it can mess with the foundation and pipes and so forth. Mm-hmm. But so that's my like fun fact for you as we're going throughout the stories today. Recall that roots go super deep. They're very important, especially when you get to things like blackberry bushes, which are total. In this case, it was a nuisance for me. They didn't even produce berries, so it's like this is a worthless bush that is full of thorns. I want it out. But those roots go so deep. And so when we're thinking about the struggles in our lives, the troubles in our lives, and how we counteract them, it's important that we note, get the roots. It's not enough to just say, like, quit thinking like this or quit doing this. We have to really get to the root of the issue, the why of the issue, and understand where it's coming from, right? Okay, so I'm going to go into a quick story from the Bible. It's one of my favorite stories, and then I'm going to come back to us and ask a question for the room, okay? So as I ask the question, though, it's important to understand the context of the story. One of the most loved stories in the Bible is the story of David, King David. He's a pretty awesome guy, known as being like one of the best kings, a man after God's heart. But before David, we had King Saul. And King Saul is often known as like a really terrible villain. He was a bad guy. He chased David for years trying to murder him. But it's something we gloss over in the story is before Saul was a villain, he was actually Victor. He was a really good dude. And like he was crowned the very first king of Israel in the Bible. That's like he was a man that God like chose and had confidence in. But what we see take root in the early part of Saul's kingship is his insecurity. So when Saul is first, he's first coming to know that he's going to be destined to be a king, his mentor, his prophet Samuel tells him, hey, I'm going to anoint you a king. And I'm kind of fast forwarding through the story here, but the point that I want you to know is Saul knows he's going to be king. This is like, to put it in like modern day terms, this is like President Biden before he was actually like, what is it called? Sworn into office. Like he knew he was going to be president, right? That's Saul. He knew he was going to be king. And so then the time comes where he's actually going to be named king. He's destined to be king, and then he's going to be named king. So let's read 1 Samuel 10, verse 22. If we could. Perfect. So let's go. Yeah, okay. So Samuel is bringing forward each tribe, the clans, to find who's going to be named king. Finally, Saul, son of Kish, was taken, but when they looked for him, he was not to be found. So they inquired further of the Lord, has the man come here yet? And the Lord said, yes, he has hidden himself among the supplies. He hid himself. He already knew he was going to be king. Why did he hide? That doesn't make any sense, right? And if we like think through and examine the story, he hid because he didn't lack, he was insecure about what was going to happen. He lacked confidence in what God had already told him. God told him he was going to be king. And still, Saul hid. This is like, what would have happened if President Biden was like, I'm out. I'm going to hide. Like, the future of Saul's kingship, we really see the foundation with which it was built on. We saw the roots of some of his issues right away. His kingship was rooted and founded on insecurity and lack of confidence in what God has told him. So my question for the room, as we think about and start to examine our own hearts, as we each have not necessarily kingships, I hope not, in the United States it's not even possible, but maybe one of you all would be president. I would vote for Joey or Lily. But
oh boy.
The point is, we each have passions and skills and dreams and destinies, if you will, with which we're going to go forward in life. And it's important to understand the roots of some of the things, because we all have thorns in our lives. So my question for the room is, what are some of your root troubles, and how has that played out in your life?
I guess I could go first. I would say that immediately that comes to mind is comparison. Like, there's always people around me. There's always people that are doing what I'm trying to do. Like, it stems way back from when I was on sports teams, and even as early as elementary school, there were always people around me, and there were always things I saw in others that were better, or they did this better, or they were more popular, whatever it was. And I know for me, one of my roots is comparison. And I can think of people throughout every season of my life that I compared myself to. And I just know that that's a thorn in my side. It's one of my roots that if I'm not careful, I start to live for the sake of comparing myself to others. And my measurement is if I'm doing better than them. And Rachel, that's just like one of my greatest struggles. And it's been helpful to kind of figure out who I am and who Jesus says I am, so that it's not rooted in that, so I can fight that root.
I love that.
That's very good. I would say, I mean, Lily and I are very similar. Comparison would probably honestly be one things that I've struggled with as well. Just like she said on being on sports teams and different things like that, I've always compared myself to other athletes and other people. I wish I was that good, or I wish I had that quality or whatever. The other thing would be probably just being a people pleaser and always wanting to please people, and sometimes that having more fear of that than and not as much fear of God. It should be the opposite. I should have more fear of God and want to please Him versus please people. So that's probably one of the thorns in my life.
I love that. And I love how on both of those things you both shared how you're working to take the shovel, if you will, and uproot some of those lies in your life, right? Through using God as your measuring stick and knowing how to honor God and using that as your key point, Joey. So that's really awesome. I absolutely love that. And I would say for me, one of the thorns in my side that I'm working to uproot is my perfectionism, right? So and really trying to understand when I'm feeling those feelings of feeling unworthy or like I need to be perfect in order to have a say in things. It's so important to go back to the Bible and for my root, and that's how I've been uprooting that and using, like Lily said, God is my measuring stick. He says He's taking us from glory to glory. So living in the truths and living in what the Lord says about us, that He loves us and sees us and knows us. So those are some really great ways to uproot some of the troubles that you have in your life. Take those thorns out of your side, just like that blackberry bush. Okay, we're going to get to what happens next in Saul's story. So, like I said at the very beginning, it's easy to point a finger at Saul and be like, wow, he was a terrible dude when you start to read the rest of his story. But at first, he really was a very good king initially. And so he wins several battles. He's totally all in it for God. But we start to see, especially in wartime, how Saul starts to take things into his own hands. So he starts to, instead of waiting for Samuel at a certain point, he offers a sacrifice himself. He breaks a commandment of God. In one such battle, he actually tells a priest, stop praying. I'm going to take things into my own hands, and I'm just going to go to war. So just like totally his confidence in himself is revealed through chaos. When chaos ensues and battle is around him, Saul takes things into his own hand. His confidence is in himself and not the Lord, and that really begins to undo him and spiral his kingship. So we mentioned Samuel early on in the first story. Samuel, again, a great prophet of the time, a mentor to Saul, if you will. Samuel starts to see some of this happen, and Samuel confronts Saul. So let's hop in to 1 Samuel 15:24. I'm going to read Saul's response to Samuel when Samuel confronts Saul. Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned. I have violated the Lord's instructions, or the Lord's command and your instructions. I was afraid of the men, and so I gave in to them. What struck me initially, well, a couple things struck me, but what struck me initially was Saul didn't take responsibility for what was happening. He didn't own up to where he had gone off the rails. He blamed it on other people. He said, I was afraid of the people. They were scary. They were mad at me because I've been at war, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it may have been, he was quick to cast blame on others. The second thing that struck me is he doesn't speak life into his opportunities. He doesn't own up to it, and he doesn't say, he could have said something like, I'm going to work on being a better king. I'm going to work on my relationship with the Lord. Instead, he casts blame and stays in the negative. And this is something that we've talked about it here at Unlock Church a little bit, but it really hit me this week that so often we're quick to say things like, I'm not creative. I'm not good at public speaking. I'm not good at CrossFit. I'm not good at this or that. And instead, we could take the opportunity to own up to the places where we're feeling convicted and speak vision into them, saying like, I'm working on being better at squatting and CrossFit. I'm working on being a better public speaker. And when we first take responsibility and accountability for the things that we're working on, we can also bring others into the things that we're working on and instead say, or in saying like, I want to be better at squats, somebody like Lily can come in and say, I can help you. And we can speak vision and life and forward progress into some of the things that we're working on. So I want to ask the room, how are you speaking life into some of your opportunities?
That's a hard one to think of and answer right away. How are we speaking life into our opportunities? Joey, are you thinking, or do you have any?
I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm hoping that you get something quicker so I can think. But, I can
answer.
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay. I guess I would say, like, I think of, like, it's not only ourselves that speak the opposite of life, that speak negativity in our opportunities, but I also think that there are haters. There are people around us that don't want us to win, that don't want to see us succeed. And some of you might be like, well, I don't really have that, but you might, and you might not think that those people are in your life and those people are saying those things, but they might not even blatantly be saying, like, you can't do this. But I even know there are people in my life that question in small things, that question in like, how's that going to work, or how's that going to happen? Maybe even people in our own circles sometimes when collaboration and thinking past the first idea isn't the first, like, valuable thing on a team, people tend to question it. Like, well, how's that going to happen? And so I think, like, there are times when I don't speak life into my opportunities, or I don't speak life into my dreams because I'm worried what other people will say. Like, I put those words in their mouths before they even say it. And then I just kind of stay in this safe bubble, this safe space that, like, I know I can accomplish this right here. So I'm just going to stay here because it's safe and it's like, it's not scary. And so, like, I think I allow other people's opinions, like, come in before I even allow myself to dream, and then that hinders me from dreaming. So, like, that's how I don't speak life into my opportunities. I don't know if that answers.
So how can you change that narrative?
How can I change? I guess I would say, like, remembering, like, my ability to dream and my ability, like, in Christ to do and accomplish great things, and, like, believing in that first before I listen to other people's narratives and, like, their opinions on what it is that I'm doing. And kind of, like, I love this analogy, I, like, have it tattooed on my body, but, like, staying on my ladder, like, doing the work I know I'm supposed to be doing, that I'm passionate about, and not coming down from it. Like, it's very obvious when people come down from the great work that they're doing because they get discouraged. And so I think it's, like, speaking life into my opportunities is, like, staying on my ladder, like, I'm doing a great work, I won't come down even though this is scary or hard or people don't believe in me. Joey,
Amazing.
What about, you got an answer?
That's hard to follow right there. Like,
my
she
gosh.
just hit it on the spot. Like, dang.
Woo!
That was good, Lily. Good job. Seriously, I honestly think Lily really said it perfectly. At least in my mind, because that's like when like she was speaking, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good, that's good. And so I mean, I'm just gonna answer the how to like change it. I mean, I think a lot of us, I just speak so much. I catch myself all the time, just so much negativity. It's like changing my negativity to positive, and like writing it down, saying it, because like there's times where I'm saying like, oh, I'm so out of shape now, or I'm. But you can change that, and I think sometimes we get to the point where we're so like down like the road, and we feel like there's no turning back. There's no way I can improve at this. There's no way I can become fit again. There's no way I can, whatever it may be in your life. And I like what Lily said about like finding what Jesus has to say about it, and believing that before believing what other people have to say, because people, there are limits, and people think like, oh no, there's no way you can do that. There's like a 2% success rate if you go that route. But with God, with Jesus, anything's possible. And so surrounding yourself with people that really are going to push you and believe in you, and then just really soaking up God's word, because he has big plans for you, and really believing that. And I don't know what else to say besides like soak it up and believe it, and like think about it, like let it. Yeah, I don't know. Like Rachel talked about a few weeks ago, I think, the filter in your mind. I mean, have that filter. Everything goes through that filter. So, yeah.
You two are awesome. Like, what the heck? This is amazing.
This chat is awesome, too. Let's keep it rolling, guys.
Is there anything in particular you want to bring out from the chat? Any questions that we've got?
Well, no questions, but like just, it's so fun because on Sundays we do this live. So it's happening live. Like right now, this is live, right? And you're watching live too. So it's fun to see people processing through whatever the topic is and share their thoughts. And we've got a first-time guest today, Matthew. Welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Matthew.
And he's as he's processing, he's sharing these 4 agreements or 4 like qualities he is hoping to have in his life. Always, and they're good, Rach. He says, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. And like, Matthew, I don't know if you know this, but all that's biblical. Like, all of it. Jesus says, don't be offended. It's the Bible is our roadmap. It's our instruction manual for life. And it's God-inspired, God-breathed. He created every word. And the beauty in these goals we make for ourselves, it's all backed on what our Creator, like, offers for us and like encourages us to live like. So I'm encouraged by your word and what you said, and it's just really cool to see how people process through these topics. And Rachel, I'm sure you had no idea how people would process through.
I love it.
The cool thing about online is we get to see people's thoughts in the chat. We get to see how they process it. So thank you for sharing, Matthew. That's awesome.
You. Yeah, I absolutely love what Joey mentioned, what Matthew is doing. There's something about taking what's in your mind, your passions, your heart, and writing it down, whether that be in the chat or in your journal. I encourage you sometime today, write down some, this is a tacky word, but like vision statements for what you have in your life. And there's something so powerful about writing it down. Like, I will be a good leader. I will be a positive influence at work. I will be a good spouse or parent or whatever it may be. There's something so powerful about writing down those positive statements about those things that you intend to do. So thank you, Matthew, for doing that in the chat. Thank you, Joey, for saying that, and Lily for your awesome thoughts. You guys are all amazing, and these are such great ideas. I love it. I'm stoked, and I'm like, we have one more point still, and I feel like we're just...
I want to hear it.
I'm just so inspired by this room. Amazing.
That's awesome.
Okay, so back to the story really quick. So we're going to wrap it up with Saul here. So Saul... like we mentioned at the beginning, he's got some root issues. He's got some thorns in his side that are starting to unfoil his life. He doesn't take care of those issues, and what we often think of Saul as, the mad king, Saul's really starting to spiral into this, into just like, he's off the rails, you guys. He's going crazy. And so when he gets into these like bad moods or whatever, his advisors have the idea, let's bring in somebody who knows how to play music. Music will calm Saul down and put him in a better mindset. So I talked about it a little bit in the beginning. We have King David who comes next. He follows King Saul's kingship. Is that the right word? Reign? Whatever you want to say. So David is actually selected to help play music when Saul is in his bad moods. Mm-hmm. So let's read really quick. 1 Samuel 16, verse 18. One of the servants answered, I have seen a son of Jesse of Bethlehem who knows how to play the lyre, which is, I'm going to replace this with harp. Whatever version this is saying lyre. I don't know what a lyre is, but anyway, biblical term. Who knows how to play the harp. He is a brave man and a warrior. He speaks well and is a fine-looking man, and the Lord is with him. And I love that David's passion and skill is used to help somebody else. And David probably had no idea that he was going to be playing harp in front of a king someday, when some Saturday afternoon, David was probably like, let's learn how to play the harp. This sounds fun. And like all of a sudden this passion that he had no idea was going to help somebody someday became a fundamental like building block in David's life. The fact that he played the harp was like one of the key points to take him into kingship someday. So my question for the room, my final question for the room is, we each have, everybody in this chat, everybody in this room has a passion, has a dream, has a skill set that is unique to us, and God put that passion and that love in our heart uniquely for us and has a plan for us with that passion. So how are you using your skills and your passions to help other people?
Joey, you got this.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I think first and foremost is you need to recognize that interest you have, that passion, that thing that you write down on that piece of paper, like Rachel was saying, that vision for your life, that is a God-given thing, and that kind of like Lily was talking about the ladder, don't get down from it. When you get discouraged, when things aren't going well, or it just doesn't seem to be, that business doesn't seem to be successful at the moment, don't come down. Keep on going. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Keep on trying. Keep on going after it. You don't know when it's going to become successful. And I would just say, like, yeah, don't come down from the good thing that God has in store for you. That passion He's put in it for your life, and usually the things that He puts in us, those passions and things, it's ultimately to make a difference in someone's life, and so just do it wholeheartedly. Don't get discouraged. Lean on people to give you strength. Lean on God to give you strength, because He will fill you up. He will continue to do that even when when you're weak, He is strong, and so. Ask Him for that help, and just keep on, keep on pushing, keep on going towards it. Don't let people discourage you, because there are people, there are haters, like Lily was saying, that can easily discourage us. Keep those eyes forward. I mean, kind of like a horse. Rachel, what are those things called? Blinders. Keep those blinders on and keep going after God's call for your life. And that's what I got.
Okay, I was just confirming with Rachel that, just the question. But, for me, my passion is the hope of Jesus. It just is. And I had a little bit of time to think about this, but I have a lot of passions. I love CrossFit. I love jewelry and doing my makeup. It's super fun. But my passion is the hope of Jesus. It's gives me life every day. It gives me hope when I'm feeling down. It's everything that is in me, and my passion is to share that with others. And I love young people. I'm the youth director here at Unlock. It's my passion to make sure all people know about this hope, because it has changed my life, and I know it can change yours. I know it can change the young people that are behind us. And so that, like, I'm so passionate about that I'm willing to let everything that I'm into and let everything that I'm studying go and cycle through that. And I just think that that's how I've chosen to use my passions and use what God has given me for what I'm passionate about to all funnel into that. And that's my hope, is that wherever you're sitting today, you will see that hope in Jesus, whether it's through us, through our spirits today, that we're joyful, and through a word that Rachel gave us. We're hoping that you find a little ounce of that hope today, because it's real, it's ready, and it's for you just as much as it is for us. So Rachel, thank you so much. That was awesome. Do you have any final thoughts?
Like Lily said, my biggest prayer and hope for you today is that you ask yourselves, if you replace your confidence in yourself or the insecurities and uproot the things that you have in your lives and place your trust in Jesus and have confidence in the Lord, how might the trajectory of your future hopes and dreams, passions change if you logged out of that screen today and fully believe that the Lord loves you, sees you, thinks you're worthy? How might things change for you in your future?
I love it. So good. Well, Rachel, do you want to pray for us and we'll transition?
Yeah, let's go. All right. Thank you, God, so much for being with us here this morning. And thank you for every single person that's watching online now and in the future. And we just worship you today, God. We say thank you for all that you've done in our lives, that all that you are doing and all that you will do. And thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. And I ask that this message marinates in our souls from what somebody said today or the music that was played, and that we may find ways to glorify you this week. In your perfect name we pray. Amen.
So good, Rachel. Thank you. Now, this part of the service is we want to give you the opportunity to give, and it talks about giving a lot in the Bible, and I explain it the same, like almost every time, the same thing, but I think we hold money as an idol, and we have it money with our fists closed, and we just need to open it up a little bit, and so I just want to give you the opportunity, and there's two ways you can give here at Unlock Church. The first way is you can text Unlock to the number 77977. Or you can go to unlockchurch.com and push giving and give that way. Both very simple ways to give, but we just want to give you the opportunity to do that. And I just thank you. If you are giving, thank you so much. You don't know what God is going to do with those resources that you give. And so thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
So good. And one last thing, I just want to make available to you, if you have questions about what we talked about today, if you have questions about life and the in-between, we want to be here for you. We have a phone number that you can text, call, really anything. Really, you can get a hold of someone from the team here at Unlock Church. The number is right here down below me. We would love to connect with you. There's also an email that goes out weekly about things that are happening at Unlock Church, ways to pray for people who are a part of Unlock Church, and we just want to get you on with that as well. So if you want to be subscribed to the email, you can text the number as well. How do I get subscribed to that email? There's just so many ways to get connected, and I am so excited to have you here, whether you're new or you've been coming for a long time. We just want to make sure we're connected with you. So we're so grateful you are here today. Rachel, Joey, thank you for hanging with us. Such a good morning. And that's
thanks,
all
everybody.
we got. Yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great week.
Have a great
we'll
week.
Be back here with Scott next week.
Woo!
We'll see you there.
Scotty.
Bye, guys.